DPO if 80 million naira ransom is not paid. And later on the show, Minister of Education says federal government can only afford 23.5% salary increase for university workers and 35% for professors. I'll be hanging out with Dari Udufookon and Emeka Madunagu. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. Untying is how best to describe the approach of Governor Babagana Zulum of Borno State to governance. On Monday night, Governor Zulum showed up unannounced at the General Hospital in Bama for an on-the-spot monitoring of healthcare services and workers. After his assessment of the hospital, Governor Zulum sought to know from the medical doctor and nurses the challenges facing them. This is a kind of unusual approach to governance in Nigeria. Governor Zulum is not a conventional governor. This is a governor that is not given to fashion. Goes against security reports. He has faced the line of fire 2-3 times, almost lost his life, and his dedication to this responsibility, governance, is something else. Now, he has done it before, visiting one hospital, one other time like that. I think this will be the second time he will be visiting the medical facility in Borno State.
You use the right word. The man is unusual. And it is usual for him to do things like this now, because we are gradually coming to see him in that light. And here is a man who will go beyond the fighting lines on his own, and insisting he needs to talk to IDPs to know what they are going through and all that. He's not a governor.
And when he gets to the camp, he will supervise sharing of cash.
Check the food they eat. He's not a man who will say, I'm a commissioner for whatever, go and do it. And
No.
He goes in there. I'm sure the commissioner for health may even be unaware of this visit. And when he got there, he will be able to see on the spot for himself the needs, the challenges, and also monitor the progress being made so far by his administration. Zulum is redefining governance. Zulum is showing that whatever might have been done between 1999 and 2007 in a state like Lagos can also be done up north, can be done in the east, can be done in the south-south. He's showing that governance is not restricted. I mean, good governance is not restricted to a particular part of the country or cannot be given only by certain people. We've seen governance that people are talking about today in Lagos. And it is almost becoming something like, oh, it could not have happened elsewhere. Now somebody is saying it can be done. And he's doing it. He is not only offering the people a war-torn state, mind you, a state badly hit by the insurgency. He is going everywhere, building roads, giving back schools to communities that have lost their own, and inspecting these
Building mega schools.
I saw a picture of a school he built in Maiduguri. I was wondering, those are the Lagos prototypes.
Yeah.
And then putting it there. Other states are now being challenged beyond what we had before. What we had before was, you should have done this. Now what we are having now is, can you see this being done? Other states should emulate the guy. He's doing wonders.
I've met a couple of governors, and that's before you see them. But Babagana Zulum is simple approach to everything. It's like right on the Aminu Masari. The last day I saw him, he almost broke the protocol, and he was seeing me off to the car park. And Zulum strikes me as someone that is simple to a fault.
It's not unusual, really, because maybe going by his background as an academic, as a former lecturer, he's someone who has related with the people for a long time and hasn't allowed the temporary perks of office to overwhelm him. I mean, of course, we practice democracy, but it must be responsive and responsible democracy, not democracy of oligarchs or democracy of people ensconced.
And the point I was trying to make
in
is
their
that,
offices.
you know, a regular governor, a usual governor in Nigeria, they are not accessible
We should do,
people.
that's what I'm saying. We
They
should
are
have
not people you can walk.
We should have no. Now
walk
those are imperial governors.
They are not governors. You
Those are
can say,
imperial governors.
I want to see
yes,
Mr. Governor.
Those are imperial governors.
You'll have
You
to
see,
write
those
and
are
wait for
people.
responses
Those are people. You see,
You cannot.
the unfortunate thing is that we don't know. Democracy is government of the people, for the people, and by the people. So every step of the way is about the people. You cannot be detached from the people and claim to be serving the people. That's the example that Governor Zulum, you know, and of course, well, he's not the first governor to do so. You know, a number of governors over the years since 1999 have done so in different states. So definitely, it's the kind of governance we would like to see. Governors who
Demystify that position. Simplify
you know
that
the interesting
position.
thing? This position
make that
is
position
just,
accessible.
it's just about 4 years. If God helps you, you know, I mean, and then the people vote you again, another 4 years. In 8 years, you'll be forgotten. So you see, I wonder all of this imperial courage and treating the people to scorn. It's just a matter of 8 years, and you have become a relic, a forgotten part of the people's history. So if you don't try to make a mark on the lives of the people, if you're not accessible, if you're not responsible, if you're not responsive, it is just a matter of time. The people are taking record. And you know what? Time will come when history, posterity will judge how you impacted on the lives of the people who voted you in. So you see, that I understand he's even still there, you know. So what it shows is that he is in touch with the people, and of course, I don't envy him, because the state is really in very unfortunate circumstances.
Just imagine if we had Borno is not faced with insurgency, but you know, that's you just have peace and tranquility in Borno State. The giant stride, the kind of development that's.
You see, yes, it's unimaginable. Let me put it that way. You can't just imagine it, because if he has done
that in the face of this
difficulties, insurgent, since he became governor, and while one would say a lot still needs to be done, you will agree with him that he has turned around the physical outlook of that city in a very short time. How do we ensure that we have men like this? It is by talk, and that's what you are doing, bringing this up as a topic. Let's talk about those who are doing it well more. That's a way to challenge those who are not doing it.
So ahead of 2033, we need to choose leaders that we love.
Now
that will be accessible.
Do you know we have a problem in this country before? You don't find much of exemplary persons in governance. Now we are seeing people we can talk about. Now we are seeing people we can say, look at what they've been able to do. The more of such people we talk about, the better for us, because we are sending messages to those who are not doing it right. Remember, I was talking about people who are imperial, people who sort of fortify themselves against the people. It's a matter of time. Gone are those days when the people's vote means nothing. The people who vote counts now.
You need them.
You need them.
4 years.
With the effort of INEC so far, the only way you can rig is you still have to buy the vote of these same people.
These people.
So it is easy for me. You want to buy my vote and I just don't like you. I'll collect your money if you offer it by force and still refuse to vote for you. Or they will simply reject your money. Say, go with your money, we don't even want you. So it will be difficult, I say it, except something totally goes wrong, for people to reject the likes of Zulum. Because here is a governor who is taking what I can call the highest risk possible in that state. Going to areas he can easily be attacked. Going to places he appears unprotected. Taking risk, all because he wants to be sure what he wants done is being done right.
Okay, so, I think I have my first caller. Garba is calling us.
Good to two gentlemen in the studio.
Thank you for joining us, Garba.
You see, honestly, Governor Zulum is exceptional. Let me use that word. And if you continue what he's doing, sky will be his limit. Secondly, hello?
Go ahead.
Secondly, you make mention of Governor Masari. I think that one is a culture in North. If you have a bistro, wherever you are, come out to your house and visit you. Escort him when he's going.
Very humble.
That's a culture in the North. It's a culture. Have a nice day over there.
You pass by him, you know that you're passing by a governor.
Even as Speaker of
to a fault.
Even as Speaker of the National Assembly was like that. Immediately he gets back to his constituency. In the evening, you can find Masari outside on the mat. They call him a Jalisa. He will be there with his people. He will sit like he went back to take his former position before he went to the assembly. He will sit down with them, eat suya with them, take granite, eat dabino, and discuss politics.
And we're not saying you should come and fake it though. Don't do it during the election.
That
one you start eating onions.
Not the one that you leave your
election
constituency and go to Oshodi or go to Enugu bypass. Start eating corn that you throw away immediately get into your car. As if we don't know. Or drinking gari as an honorable member.
Or you go to the school feeding program.
And sit down.
As classroom. Those photos of the...
No, that's not what we are talking about. We're talking about people who feels the pulse of their constituents. People like Zulum, who would decide all of a sudden that I want
security reports.
We
embark on the trip and everything.
He's risking it all.
Yes, he doesn't mind.
But the people will not forget him.
The people will not forget.
That's the kind of person you bring money and ask people to vote against, and they will say no. Sorry. We will vote for him.
All right, moving on now. Following heavy bombardment by the military, it appears the camps of terrorists in the northeast are in disarray. Some Boko Haram fighters who were escaping the military bombardment in Borno State were attacked by their rivals, the Islamic States of West Africa Province, ISWAP. While reports say about 200 Boko Haram fighters and their commanders were killed in the military onslaught, some of the escaped terrorists who sought refuge in China village in Bama local government area of the state were attacked by ISWAP. I think it's a technical way that God is answering our prayer. Because if terrorists start killing terrorists, and I read one story yesterday that some bandits act to arrest a robber to hand over the robber to the police.
Say Olegbe, Olegba.
Bandit arrest thief, hand over thief to police.
What about what he stole? They collected it from him. So well, it's good news. At least all the bombardment. You know, the bombings being carried out by the military, of course, it shows that these people are being
of commanders,
yes,
top commanders that
they are being displaced. But
yes,
the interesting thing is, how come these people still find a way to regroup, to still cause problems within that northeast?
You know, we discussed about
here and there. Yes, yes.
We discussed about
the supply line needs to be cut, needs to be cut off, because the point is
the recruitment drive.
Yeah, the recruitment drive. Where do they get these people? And are these people really Nigerians, or are some, unemployed people from other countries joining?
A lot of people will tell you that these are people living in those ungoverned spaces.
Yes, also including places in Niger Republic.
Government.
The military, yes, kudos to them, but I think they need to break the ranks of these people and then also cut them off from the northwest and the north central, because since they are being displaced from the northeast, you find a lot of them moving to other places, and causing so much havoc, causing damage. So I commend the military for bombing them, but on the ground too, the military should intensify efforts in cutting off their contacts with their criminal colleagues in other places, in the northwest, in the north central, so that, of course, terrorism can be easily defeated.
Gary, Can you give us a kind of background to this rivalry between ISWAP and Boko Haram fighters?
Yeah, you see, what we are saying, first I must say, like you said, God is answering our prayer. When Ayana decided to attack tiger, it is all well and good for other animals in the bush, so it's okay. More of such. However, this rivalry stems from what I would call the disagreement in the chains of command of Boko Haram itself. It got to a point, especially during the reign of the last, this guy that was killed, what's his name?
Shekau.
There were dissents. He was the leader.
Okay, secession in the camp of
There were
Shekau.
dissents. People felt, look, this guy is falling off track. We can no longer follow him. And there was this serious a struggle for control. They wanted him out. So, but he was also strong. At a point, a faction of Boko Haram joined ISWAP and pledged their allegiance to the leadership of
I remember
ISWAP.
that time.
So when that happened, ISWAP took it upon themselves to say, now we'll be appointing leaders for Boko Haram, which is like a wing of
started
ISWAP
funding
in
them.
Nigeria, and started funding them.
Heavily.
So they appointed somebody. Shekau insisted he was in charge until he was killed by the person appointed. Now those ones are still loyal to ISWAP. Shekau's people too are still carrying on. They appointed their own leaders, and so you now have about 3-4 factions, splinter groups, all claiming to be fighting the same war, but under different kind of leadership. Orientations are now also very different, and there is rivalry for control of territory. What we see playing out now is control, the power and the struggle for control. These people escaped from Nigerian army, ran into probably an area heavily populated by ISWAP fighters, and they were wiped out. So our prayer should be, ISWAP fighters should also run into areas populated by Boko Haram, and they should be wiped out. That will be helping the war against insurgency. But by and large, there is something that is worrisome, and that is the orientation being carried by these fighters. While we continue the military bombardment, we must do something about the orientation.
Yeah.
What are they being told? Be they Nigerians, be they Nigerians or Chadians or name it, there must be something they were told.
Oh, in the process of recruitment.
In the process of
Yes,
recruitment.
to
Because
radicalize them.
they are radicalized. So what have we done to reduce the possibility of radicalization in those possible catchment areas where they can get fighters from? We have still not done anything tangible, I must tell you, about the Almajiris on the streets of the northern states. I served there and stayed there for almost 5 years, and I tell you, the average Almajiri on the street sees nothing else other than the next opportunity. The next meal is an opportunity. The next cloth is an opportunity.
So, Emeka, it will be safe.
You find people who are almost
It will be
hopeless.
safe to conclude with 33% unemployment rates, inflation rates of 19.65%, that the level of poverty, the economic downturn, that this will be what is fueling this recruitment. That if government is not a military war alone, that if government does not go to the root cause, that we might not actually defeat terrorism. So far, they get people, they give money, they recruit people, they give loans, they give cash. During Salah, they give... Yes.
Yeah. But the basic thing about terrorism is the weaponization of fear. They turn fear into a weapon. You know, people don't want to die. So they move in and try to subjugate the people. Okay, we're talking of the inflation. You know, part of the inflation has to do with rising food prices, also caused by the insecurity. People cannot go to their farms. So they migrate to other areas where they don't really contribute a lot to the economy of those areas. And they are more or less like a problem, you know, to the areas, to those areas they migrate to. Meanwhile, these are farmers. These are people who are subsistence farmers. They've been in farming for decades. So what do you have? You have that same problem of the people being unable to contribute to the economy of the country. So when you talk about unemployment rate, let's also look at those displaced. The displacement across Nigeria caused by terrorism is so high. It's something that needs urgent attention. Now, we talked about some people who went for a burial and were kidnapped, and the next thing we heard was that they had been taken to the farms of these bandits to be working for them. That's slavery. So how do you deal with such a thing? Okay, these so-called bandits, they have disrupted the food supply chain across Nigeria, and then now they are conscripting Nigerians into working for them. So they see that food is very important to them. They want Nigerians to starve while they themselves have a regular supply of food. I think this bombardment should actually get to these people. Let them, the Boko Haram elements who were fleeing and they were caught up, they ran into the gunfire of ISWAP. Of course, part of it was because of the rains. So they were soaked in the rain. Some of them were without clothes, without fire on them. But ISWAP stopped when they saw women and children with them. I believe the military should really go hard on these people, because we should not, by any means, be labeled as a country where slave trade is taking place. Is a terrible characterization. Well, that is what these people are trying to do. And they must be stopped in their tracks. Since they want Nigerians to stop, every measure should be taken against them so that they will not succeed in their evil mission.
Darren, we must commend the armed forces. Yeah. As in, so far, so good. Let's leave banditry now that has crossed to the north central and across the country. But talking about the northeast, the epicenter of this insurgents that started in 2009, that's the way we've been able to,
I think they got wiser than the insurgents, the military now. The leadership of the military saw something we've been saying so far. You see, there was something these insurgents were trying to do. They were spreading terror in such a way that the army and other security forces would be over-engaged. You're engaged here, you're engaged here, you're engaged here. And in all these places, your effort will be minute. I think what the army has been able to do is that, look, let us crush the insurgents. If we do, we can take care of these other issues. And they are concentrating on fighting the insurgents. One. Two, another thing that is going for the militarists.
Absolutely.
And it is working for us. If there is a development in the northeast and it is traced to anywhere else, they go there immediately, bombard the place, and give some sense of, look, we won't take this from you. And that is helping. It's helping the fight.
Umar is calling us from Bida in Niger State. Thank you for joining us, Umar. Oh, I think we lost Umar. So it has not been a case of sorry states so far that our military, they've been able to stem the tide of insurgency in the northeast.
No, of course, these are the military is made up of human beings. So these are not they are not God, So they work within their capabilities, within the strategies, and also within resources available to them, intelligence available to them. So definitely with the feedback, like Darren said, coming from the media, from Nigerians, they have been fine-tuning their strategies. And we have a chief of defense staff, General Lucky Rabah, who is really dedicated to putting an end to insurgency. I don't know what his predecessors were actually doing, because we can see that with him, with this current chief of defense staff, there is a change, there is a sea change in the strategies and the tactics they're using against this insurgent. But they still need to do more. They need to do much more. Because, now that we have the rains, of course, they can't work so well. So the military must make sure that they are decimated so badly that by the time the dry season comes, they will not be able to regroup
what they have lost.
They will not be able to regroup and cause more problems.
So finally, when you want to look at the end of the day, because the amount we've extended in fighting insurgency in that region, that area in the next 30 years, I don't see them coming out of this in terms of backwardness, in terms of destruction, in terms of displaced people.
We will hold them all the assistance we can give. collectively to bring them out of it. Because the level of destruction, the stunted growth and development, and the psychological trauma, they are like a people who had been at war all this while, and they end of the day they lose because some of these insurgents are their people. Some of these insurgents used to be known to them. Some are dead, some are in prison. Some of these insurgents are people that they will still find around after all these things and they will still be afraid. Now, that is one. Two, the farms, the homes, the schools, the infrastructures are all gone. And unless we all, we should first pray for a quick end to this war, then we begin to plan. The government should also be planning as they are waging this war, how to revitalize that part of the country.
All right. Okay, we'll take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. Please don't go away. It's still Journalist Hangouts.
The federal government, through the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, announces the availability of COVID-19 and childhood vaccines nationwide. With the disturbing increase in reported cases of COVID-19 infections across Nigeria, protect yourself and loved ones from the harmful virus by getting vaccinated. Visit the nearest public or private health facility and mass vaccination sites today to receive the first, second, or booster doses of COVID-19 vaccines. COVID-19 vaccines are given to persons 18 years and above, including pregnant women and breastfeeding mothers, while childhood vaccines are given to children from birth to 5 years for protection against polio, hepatitis, yellow fever, measles, meningitis, and other vaccines-preventable diseases. All vaccines are free, safe, and effective. For inquiries, visit www.nphcda.gov.ng or call 0700-220-1122.
This message is from NPHCDA in partnership with the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support.
It's unarguably your favorite news and current affairs program, reaching you from our headquarters here in Lagos, Nigeria, TVC News. And we still have Emeka Madunagu and Dari Odufowoko in the studio. Thank you, gentlemen, for staying with us. Now, most times we are amused but saddened by antics of bandits in their dealings with kidnapped victims and other families. One of such cases involved 5 family members who were abducted on the 22nd of August in Wako Ward, Kwali Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory FCT, Abuja. They were set free after the abductors collected 4 million naira, drugs, wine, and foodstuffs. In another development, bandits have threatened to kill a divisional police officer, DPO, in Benegwari Division Headquarters in Kaduna if a ransom of 80 million naira is not paid. The DPO, Sani Mohammed Giadi, was kidnapped since June while traveling to his new duty posts. The victim is said to have paid 7 million naira and a new motorcycle as a ransom for his release, but the abductors insist on additional 80 million naira to be paid on or before the 7th of September. 7th of September, that's today.
That's today.
Very sad.
So,
Sad.
while we're celebrating what is happening in the Northeast, and is not yet Uhuru in other parts of the country, Northwest, North Central, and even it has permitted to the Southwest. Now, what we are looking at here is even the audacity last time. Once, criminals, they avoid, the law officers because they know the ripple effects that it will be counterproductive.
Yes.
If you kill a cop, you're in trouble. They all come after you. But right now, a DPO is struggling for his life.
Yeah, of course, he's not the first DPO to be kidnapped. There was one that was kidnapped in Delta State some time back. A ransom was paid. And then here and there, police officers have been kidnapped. Even military officers too have been kidnapped. It appears these bandits, I think they've got to a point where they don't really care whatever happens to them, or, look at what the spokesperson, one of the spokesperson for the president, Marangar Bashir, said some time ago concerning the Kaduna train victims. You know, oh, we did all that the bandits asked for, and they reneged on it. I mean, who confidently gives the government a slap in the face? I mean, repeatedly like that. It's the firepower from the government needs to be harder. It needs to be harsher. Because these people are actually, we're talking of families displaced in the Northeast and all. In other places, families are being progressively destroyed. People are selling their homes, selling their properties. It's horrendous. I mean, you hear the stories of some of these people, you cannot but shed tears because this is just plain wickedness being visited on Nigerians, innocent Nigerians, by criminals, terrorists. There's no other way to put it. So the government should not also join us in crying. No. The government must make sure it takes this war to them. A DPO kidnapped, make sure that they cannot even think about it again. It can never cross their consciousness again. Government needs to act fast and needs to be harder on these people. Otherwise, if they try DPO, they could go higher. And if nothing is done to them, we don't know where they may be setting their eyes on.
In the Northeast, they deployed, they had air power, and they were able to, counter these terrorists and everything. But in the case of banditry, because of the likely collateral damage that might be involved, it's very difficult to deploy air raids for these people. Look at like what the federal government said against on the case of the Kaduna Abuja train, that they couldn't set up a rescue mission because of the collateral damage.
Collateral damage, we've been hearing that for years. We need to be conscious of it, yes. But there should be a way to minimize, note the word, minimize, that there will be no collateral damage, then we'll be joking. Minimize collateral damage, hit hard on these criminals. Because if we continue to look at collateral damage and we allow them to fester, that's why we are here where we are. How did we get here? Because we didn't take action when we ought to. I was watching an historic movie. I saw a country, or a state as it were, asking people in a particular area to leave. They were provided security and they evacuated these people. The innocent ones were evacuated. And they were so sure that they kept announcing, if you remain in that place till so time, then you must be a criminal.
Yeah.
And you see, there must be things we can do, Ayo. These collateral damages are the people, our own people that are there. They are the ones being kidnapped and used as farm hands. They are the ones being kidnapped and forcibly married off to commanders of this country. And people keep telling me, the people doing it to Fulanis. The people and I'm beginning to say, no, you know why? A man who hails from that village will not carry his own people and go and use them as slaves. He must be an outsider. The ranks of these bandits have been infiltrated by non-Nigerians to a large extent. So much so that they don't care. They are not bothered about how you... They are not natives of these places. They are marauders. They are marauders who came there to steal and to destroy. And if government will find a way of dealing with them in that manner too, it will begin to aid our recovery from the effect of this banditry. And then the word banditry also, I am still advocating that we need to do away with it. These guys are terrorists. They are not different from the fighters in the Northeast. That's not some of them are even escapees from the Northeast who are in the Northwest to look for food and money to support the ongoing insurgency. So why don't we deal with them in the same manner? We must be hard. Like Emeka said, we must be harder on them until such a time that they will realize that you can't fight a nation and get away with it.
I have Dr. Yusuf from Dutse in Jigawa State. Thank you for staying with us. Go ahead, doctor.
Hello?
Yes, you're live.
It's quite unfortunate that having so many ungoverned spaces in the country, largely from the northeast, where we have been having the issue of Boko Haram. And from there also, we are now talking about banditry and other new emerging security threats that are confronting the nation. And as such, this to a large extent has brought about insecurity. And anywhere we talk about terrorism and banditry, largely because of the incapacitation of the state in order to be able to man so many territories within the country. And the issue of proliferation of arms, because whether we like it or not, banditry, terrorism, and other nefarious activities are being perpetrated using these guns. In fact, statistics have shown us that there are over 6 million guns that are circulating within the civilian hands. And these are largely instruments of terror that are being used in order to instill fear into the people. And apart from that, also when it comes to all this issue of hijack.
Now, it's a big market, lucrative. I wonder how people get 100 million naira, 80 million naira, and they pay these bandits.
I don't understand. I really don't
and
understand.
some people, they will even ask you that, these people in rags, what do they do with hundreds and hundreds of millions?
No, you see, that's the mistake people make. When people, let me just use a general knowledge. When people go to work during the week, they dress smart, right? Weekends, when they go to parties or go to nightclubs and all that, do they dress the same way? That you see them on the field in rags. Those are their work clothes now. Do you know what they do when they are not on the road, when they are not engaged in kidnapping? There are places where all of this money is being funneled to. There are certain economies that are being financed with this money. And one of the economies is the illicit flow of arms. I mean, somebody was saying that if you look at it, there are more arms in the hands of non-state actors than in the hands of security agents. So when you have that, what it means is that it is, in a way, non-state actors, the government has allowed, because it's been an unfortunate retrogression. I mean, you providing your power, providing water and all of that, that's giving non-state actors access to provide services for themselves. Now, criminal, terrorist, non-state actors have even gone beyond that to now try to seize governance, to seize the reins of government, and then seize territory. So what needs to be done? Forget about the rags and all that they put on. Trace where this money goes to. Make sure, you see, what has government done to ensure that illicit flow of money through the Nigerian banking system is tracked and dealt with? Money coming from different places. Where is the money coming from? The arms, where 6 million, we heard what Dr. Yusuf said, 6 million guns. Where do these things come from? Why can't we put a stop to these things? The customs, you see them chasing trucks and buses carrying rice. What about weapons? What about weapons? Immigration, who are the illegal aliens? Who are the illegal immigrants sneaking into Nigeria? Where are they coming from? Who are the human traffickers? Who are the people bringing them in? You see, it is time that people are made to pay for things that are happening under them, under their watch. If people in customs, immigration are being dealt with on some of these things, you will see that people will sit up.
If that industry is not thriving, if that industry is not attractive or lucrative, people will not go into it. But right now, it's like a sing-song.
Nobody, no criminal anywhere in Nigeria wants to be an armed robber again. It's too dangerous. And the money you get there is too small. Nobody wants to be a kidnapper or a bandit because it's free money. Catch one man who has name, ask for 80 million. And then after a lot of negotiation, you get 60 million. And then you can even kill the man if you so wish. And nothing happens afterwards. Some people sat down, decided that they were going to stop a moving train. Growing up, you know that song now, that nobody stops a moving train. Nigeria has been able to put a lie to that. Our criminals stopped the moving train.
Straight.
And they took people away from this moving train, and they are still holding on to them. How many months after? And nothing, practically nothing has happened.
Haven't they made over 1 billion?
And they keep collecting. And you are talking about people in RAD.
Releasing them in batches.
100 million.
You are talking about people in RAD. So you want to tell me they are putting those monies into bull and shooing them? They're not. They're using it to fund the war in the Northeast. I saw a video, I don't know how concrete or true it is, of a woman saying she came to buy cloth in the market and said, my husband has stopped all this farming work. He's now a kidnapper, and that's why he can give me plenty money. You see, they also live a life of luxury in some ways that we don't see when they are in active service.
Yes.
When you see them, they are at work, like he said.
Yeah.
So what we talk about is the fact that we must plug the holes. These monies are being collected and being spent in certain areas. If we can't stop the collection of the money now because we must save lives, let's stop the areas they spend the money. If they now have or where they send the money to, if they keep having this cash and they cannot remit it to where they send it to, they will find a way of tracking them down. But that they have been on us, that they have been getting these things and we've not done anything is a sad compliment for all of us. A sad one.
And finally, for today, it appears we still have a long way to go in resolving the industrial dispute rocking public universities in Nigeria. The federal government has announced that it can only afford 23.5% salary increase for lecturers for all categories, except professors, who will get 35% pay rise. At a meeting with pro-chancellors and vice-chancellors of the federal universities, the Minister of Education, Adamu, said government also made other offers regarding the demands by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUM, and provision of 150 billion naira in the 2023 budget for revitalization of the federal universities, but the university unions have rejected the offer on salary increase. This is, the more the crisis linger, our children, they are home, they are suffering, and we are losing so much, especially people that cannot afford to send their word to private universities and to send them abroad.
Well, the sad thing is the way the ministers of education and labor have handled this matter. Because I don't know if you saw the communique of the meeting held yesterday, the communique released by vice chancellors. Yeah. In fact, the things they said are even deeper than what ASU has put forward. You see that the tertiary education system, university system, is in a big crisis. The things they talked about, honestly, I was shocked. So I think government should stop this grandstanding and all of that and quickly sit down with them. Yes, you say there are no resources and all of that. It's not difficult to sort these things out with ASU. Yes, you made offers. But the point is, there were offers you made last year concerning the 2009 agreement. And you didn't take any step concerning those offers. Then we now had the strike. So what needs to happen? I'm glad that the Minister of Education now is heading the third committee set up by this administration to look into this matter. So I hope they will be able, together with the vice chancellors, they'll be able to reach a quick resolution of the outstanding issues. And then government, if there are promises you've made, you talked about 150 billion, please let this money be available. Talking about salary increase, of course, what even inflamed matters was certain pronouncements by operatives of government. You need to be in an atmosphere, this kind of control. You see, the vice chancellors even said that some of the comments made by government officials actually inflamed this thing. And don't think that when you say, okay, we'll not pay or something, that it is just like that. They are not the only ones suffering. The students are suffering. And that when universities resume, the universities will have to spend a lot of money recalibrating equipment, fixing certain things. So I think government should try and discuss with these people. And then I also appeal to ASU and the other unions, because the other two unions rejected it, rejected the salary increase. I think I need to appeal to them too. Well, let's see how we can reach a middle of the road, a middle of the road resolution of this matter.
That this is becoming a big embarrassment to the federal government, because I don't know, yes, government is broke, but their ability to sit down with ASU and end this stalemate.
There is no sitting down without money. Anyway, let's see, we shouldn't also join the pretense. There is no sitting down. If the government has the money ASU is asking for, the first sitting down, they will have resolved this matter.
Absolutely.
The bottom line is, ASU has made up their mind that there has been too many years of promises. We want to end it now. On one hand. Federal government has looked into its coffers and realized that what they want, we cannot pay now. It is the issue of now. The immediacy is the problem. The immediacy of the matter on both parties, on both sides. Now, what should be done? First, if has been suggested, has been alleged, if there are political undertones to this, I want to beg all those involved. It is time to let it go. We should not play politics with the very future of this country.
Yes.
I was discussing with somebody yesterday something I didn't realize before, and he said, do you realize that 3 years of the future of those who are yet to get into university have been wasted? And I said, how? He said they had outstanding admission before the previous year. Then another one is joining.
Remember COVID.
Two jams now.
Lockdown.
COVID delayed.
Lockdown, yes.
COVID, there was lockdown. Like 2 sets of undergraduates are waiting. Then jam will be written, will be the 3rd one. Meaning that the winners are actually the owners of private universities, because people will send their children in that direction. So before I miss the point, actually, the issue here is, I've been doing the last 1 month now on this matter. I just want to beg ASU. You cannot solve all the problems now. If government is now offering, they have to shift ground.
Give or take.
35% take.
Nothing should be absolute.
25 point whatever. Asset. That is, we have moved away from where we were before. At least, it is not the same situation. Let's have another fight another time to further, because it is annoying that we should be paying emphasis on the rot in the sector totally. If government is willing and ready to do something about that too, and they're ready to add 1 or 2 things to salaries, let's take it, go back and come to fight another day, so that students can go back to class.
I have this call from Karo in Nasarawa State. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Hello, Mr. Ayo. Good evening, sir. God bless you, sir. You are doing a great job, sir.
Thank you. Good evening.
Mr. Emeka, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
And it is Dada, good evening. Yes, this is Hundu from Karo, sir.
Okay.
Yes, you see, sir, the issue with ASU, you see, this issue has begun many years ago, over many regimes, and we are calling on ASU too to shift ground, because the past government, like when Wike was Minister of Education, some of those agreements were signed, not having in mind if they are going to fulfill them, because some of those agreements, the federal government today is finding it difficult to fulfill. The one thing is that government always sign agreements that they know they cannot fulfill very easily. But for the sake of our children, our young men and women, we are calling on ASU to shift ground. It's not just the federal government. And one thing we must understand is that for now, the government is complaining that they don't have enough funds. But let the government too be more responsible in tackling this issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, somebody rightly said last week that this government is behaving as if they are not, the party, yeah. Because if we have a crisis that is seemingly intractable like this to solve, and a lot of people feel that so many things are at stake, 5 months to an election, and you can't find a lasting solution.
Government should be able to sit down with ASU, NASU, SANU, NAT.
Those ones are off.
But they also rejected this. They also rejected. They called up their own strike, but they rejected this salary increase.
Accept it and let's move
So
forward.
the point is this: you increase duty to allowances of government officials. You gave $1 million to Afghanistan. You gave, even though you denied it, or you were accused of giving money to Nigeria or buying vehicles for Nigeria Republic. All of these things you are doing, where are you getting the money? You see, we should prioritize education. Infrastructure is important, but the other thing is that education is, you do the roads now, within a few years, the roads will be in need of repair. But when you invest in education, you go beyond generations. You are going from generation to generation to generation. So government should adjust its priorities and meet ASU at the point whereby put some of these things aside. Some people have even said the latest Abacha loot, use it to settle ASU. And ASU is saying, we're not asking, give us money to eat. The money is going to come. The money is going to come. So government has its way. Government has its way of solving problems. When we think it's interesting. That's government. Government has power. Government can find a way to meet at least the issue of revitalization of universities, even beyond the salary increment. The money, if you look at what the Vice Chancellor said in that their communique, it's really there.
And finally, Dari, even I have a professor friend. I don't want to mention his name, but I know he's watching me, and he showed me his pay slip. No professor in that system gets up to 500,000 naira per month. Senior professor of any
at that level.
At that
VCs
level.
800,000.
See,
500,000 naira.
It is not.
And look at Nigeria today, and since 2009, that salary has been stagnant.
It is not a problem that started today. I'm going to start again by appealing to ASU and other unions. Please, shift ground. I am not appealing to the federal government again because we've done that severally. This is where we are. They are telling us this is the best they can offer. I am now begging ASU, please shift ground so that the students.
But how about the no work, no pay policy? Government is telling us that you not collect your salary for February.
Wait. Government will have to also understand that you cannot have it all. If these people shift ground, if that is the only thing that will be remaining, let government tell them how will defray that outstanding. Now, I want to also to know that if the APC government can resolve this issue, they will quickly do because of election. That nobody puts fire on his roof and goes to sleep.
I wonder.
The truth of the matter is salary in Nigeria has been stagnant since God knows when, while other issues have been growing. You know how much you are earning. You were earning and how much you are earning, and you know that it is the same market.
I'm not a professor.
Are they living wages?
It is the same. It is the same wage. We are missing
life.
A professor is a professor in the academics. If they start giving professorship in the media based on what you have put into it, you know where you will be. Let's be realistic. We have some of our very, very senior colleagues who are now veterans, and when you look at them, you will wish that
wallowing in poverty.
Wallowing in poverty.
Wow.
Government. The last speaker said government is used to signing agreements they know they cannot fulfill. ASU should take a cue from that. They should not allow this government to also sign another agreement.
We have to leave it there. Dari.
Let them take what they can do now and ask for more later.
Thank you for your contribution. Dari Odufoko.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Ichi Emeka Madunagu.
We have not celebrated Ichi title.
Don't worry.
We'll continue our discussion after
when the ASU comes back, because it's really
is the additional money you use to.
And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11 p.m. Now join us on Sunday for Journalist Hangout on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. That's on our DSTV station. That's DSTV 418, GoTV 45, and all our other satellite stations. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.